All right, my first test of the rocket launcher. And it works. Okay, this is the trial run of the rocket shooting out of Gigavolt's rocket pack in the back. I did make a slight modification, which I think will be temporary, but the fins, the foam fins, kept hanging up on the inside of the cylinder launch tube. So I raised it temporarily to see if that would solve the problem. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Up, and it works. It hesitated a little bit, but it works. But right here is the actual launcher part that I extended by inch and a half, somewhere like that. But it makes it very easily to reset it. So click, and then put the rocket right back. Make sure it's centered. This wire does have a little give. There it goes. And again, 3, 2, 1. Voila! You might be wondering, how does that rocket propel itself down to where it's going to be hitting a character? And I will show you. This right here is the launching chamber, and this is the actual trigger. This is where I prefer the rocket to be, down here, more concealed, which I'll work on that. Hopefully I'll get that detail ironed out. But for right now, it is right here. It's already been reset. The trigger mechanism itself is actually made from a G2 pilot pin. You take it apart. I did use my electric knife to cut the tip off so the wire would feed down through. I actually had to drill another part inside of it with a drill bit larger to accept the wire as well. But the spring inside was perfect, and it's very powerful. So you just rearrange it, and once you do that, it becomes a launcher. It'll launch all kinds of things. But in this case, it's launching a foam rocket. So in 3, 2, 1. Alright, this is the update on the Gigavolt structure that I'm working on. I have completed the arm bands on each side. I need to add the wrist part here that connects onto the hands. I have one hand completed. I completed the shoulder armor on each side, and then I'll be moving on to the head. I do need to do all of the accenting and shading and adding all of the bolts and highlights to Gigavolt, but it's progressing quite nicely. This is my latest update. I have completed the head and the bolt on top, and I have now put the screw details on the hands and the rivets down the torso and on the arms. So next comes the shading. So I'll be shading the rocket pack and the shoulders and the torso, and then from there I'll move on to creating the landscape below. The shading and the details have been added to Gigavolt, from a spinning bolt on top to his jawline that's actually poseable, and then his head also moves as well. All of the details have been added and shaded on the back of his shoulders and in his rocket pack, and all the way through his arm, all the way up to his claw hand, or I don't know what you want to call this. All I know is that I have fallen in love with Gigavolt. This has been so much fun that I don't know how I'm going to give this to Zane. I mean, I don't think I could part with them now. But I know that he will treasure this as much as I do. So, anyway, sorry for that little moment there. But moving on, I am working now on the landscaping on the bottom. And luckily I found some of this textured foam sheets that to me looks like grass. So I think that's perfect. And I've cut it out the trim and I'm adding that around. And also another part of in the background of Gigavolt is this landscaping. And I went ahead and made two of them. And they also have the textured green grass on top. And one's taller and one is shorter. And I thought it would be a really nice feature to add if these could stay where you can move them around. But how I made these made me think of something else that I could do. And these were made with the foam sheets and you know, glue gun, and then heavy stock cardboard inside, and then a foam core sheet bottom and top. And these are plastic jewels, diamonds to be specific, that then I pointed out. I've been studying that landscape and I noticed that they were pointed, and I found these and these were perfect. And I ended up using my tool that I used to make my cake boards with to put wooden dowels, and I found one that was perfect. So then these just got hot glued in. I thought, you know, that would be really nice addition if I could make them light up. So I started brainstorming, and luckily I found these kits on eBay. They are LED lights with a switch, and then you just hook up a 9-volt battery. So my next task is to rig these inside of them. So I will be cutting through the bottom of the foam core base, and then I'm going to make a structure. So then these are mounted then onto a board where they're going to be mounted up, so that way air circulation will happen and nothing will touch them, and that way I can easily insert them in and then be able to flip them over and just flick a switch to turn them on and off, and then these can stay poseable. All right, the base now that you can see, let me get down a little bit lower, has been put on and shaded for the detail. And now for the two landscape pieces. Here's this one. I'm going to attach probably two-sided like Velcro or something. But I'm going to show you how I cut the bottom out. I then came in with some thick cardstock and kind of made a channel. It's not the best, but it doesn't have to be, you know. Then I took the piece and I used hot glue and kind of mounted everything into it and secured it and poked the switch through. So now it goes into here, just like that. Then this little flap, this is so I can be able to take it back out. Let me turn this around here. Take it back out to be able to change the battery. I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me. There. So now it's in. This is the switch. Turn it on. And of course then it gets its cover as well. That I will attach, like I said, with Velcro probably. But anyway, for purposes of right now, and there you have it. Look at that. So next step is the surprise I have for Zane in the middle. He's not expecting. I'm now going to work on that part to add to it. Thought I'd show you what I've been working on for Zane's surprise to go with the Gigavolt. This is a cake, and of course you can tell by the shape it's going to be Kirby. How I achieved this is I have a half sphere baking pan, so I baked up some of my vanilla bean cake and I added sprinkles in it. Why? Because Kirby is magical. Then I put the two spheres together using my milk chocolate ganache. Once I used that cemented together, I put it into the fridge. Then I started building up the layers of this. And of course, Zane loves chocolate, so I'm sure he's fine with the more the better. But basically, you just start spreading your ganache once it's cooled enough that it's almost like the consistency of peanut butter. But basically, you spread that on. And how you get it smoother than you can with just this icing knife is you use a very flexible scraper. And basically you curve it to follow the contour, and then you can remove all the excess and get a really nice smooth surface, just like that. So in between each stage I will put it back in the fridge. It's a warm day here, so I need to make sure that it doesn't start getting too soft on me because I don't want it to lose its shape. But hopefully when I'm done, all this will be cleaned up and it will be more like a sphere. And then, oh, almost forgot, I need to show you something else. I didn't want Kirby just sitting on the grass part of the Gigavolt landscaping. Get that out. What I wanted to do was have something that then the cake could be moved off or elevated up. And I thought, well, what does Kirby have? And then I realized, that's right, he has a star. So I made this with foam core, about 1/2 inch, 2 of them together, sandwiched, hot glued. Then I carved it out with an X-Acto, a more rounded edge, and then I got this as a foam core that's really sturdy. So this will hold the cake, and I'm going to put a little spike in it so then the cake will sit down onto it and no problem, won't roll off. But this is a foam sheet. And how I got it to curve really good is I used a heat gun on low. And you keep it far enough away so you don't melt it, and you heat up both sides, and then you just form it right around it as it cools. You'll then hold the shape. Then to really get it to stay, I then hot glued on this side and then put a straight piece on top. I didn't like how the seam was, so I ran a pinstripe piece of foam all the way around, which I think really looked good. Plus it helps elevate it and sit perfect. I want to send a very special thank you out there to Mayor Zane. Thank you so much for requesting such a unique cake. And I want to thank you all for watching. So please like, subscribe, and don't forget to tickle that little bell notification so you can see more videos from the Lucky Cakery.